Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Me tonight. Appreciate that. I'm going to do a quick live London Open trading session here. A little bit early. Normally I'd go on between 12 and 1 a.m. to about 2 a.m. New York time. But today, I want to talk about the markets a little earlier. Talk about some setups that I'm looking at and go from there. So, if you guys have any questions, I've got the chat window up here. Feel free. At the end of this, I'll have a look and make sure that I cover them all. Do a quick Q&A with you guys. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. I'll do my best to answer you. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So, tonight I am just going to run through a couple of pairs, some Forex, a couple commodities, and some crypto for you guys. I'll see what's happening. I'm going to bring up a quick news feed here, make sure that we know when we're on top of what's happening in the news for Thursday. Had quite a bit of movement on Wednesday. It was really late. I was in there New York Open this morning at about, I think it was about 9:30 New York time, 9:30, 10 o'clock New York time. And I was making comments in our group chat. I was like, man, it's slow. It's not really moving. And it wasn't a huge day by any means. It was fairly lackluster. Not a ton of movement across any pairs really. But it was very late in the day. It was very delayed. London was just sideways consolidation, not much happening at all. And then early New York, and for the first 2-3 hours, it really started out very, very slow, and then it finally started to pick up a little bit of momentum. I managed to get into a quick scalp. I'll show you that here in a few minutes on crude oil from a nice drop that, again, very, very late in the day. I normally wouldn't even trade at that time of day, and I saw that thing screaming down. I jumped in it. In and out for 40 ticks. Nothing serious, but I just couldn't let that one go by the wayside without jumping in. And it is exactly what I predicted to happen. Eventually, they finally did it. I love it when that happens. It was a little late to the party, but anyway, I'll talk about that one in a minute here. So just going through real quick. Oh, there we go. Furnace finally kicked off. You probably hadn't guessed it. It's friggin' cold where I'm at in the world, and it is that time of year now where the furnace is kicking in on the regular, so I apologize. I know it's loud. It could be a little distracting. Anyway, we've got some high impact news on the pound coming out here for the first fairly early actually. This one is first one's kicking off here 1 a.m. New York time, about 2 hours from now, with Carney speaking, leading off the charge. Then we've got credits condition survey and Carney speaking again at 5 a.m. New York time. So we're probably going to see a little bit of volatility in the cable today. And by today, I mean Thursday. It's technically still Wednesday. It is only 11 p.m. New York time, so still technically Wednesday. Like I say, early London session. But, and then, so a ton of a pound news coming up. And then we've got the ECB monetary policy meeting, medium impact news event at 7:30 a.m. So basically this is kind of right at the start of New York Open. And then we've got some CPI news, core CPI high news impact events. Crude oil inventories, again, they pushed it back to Thursday of this week, normally Wednesdays. And then we've got Treasury currency report coming out, which is tentative. So this is interesting. I don't like it when they have, especially a Treasury currency report. I don't like how they put this tentative in there because they could really put that anywhere. And then we've got some Aussie news later off to finish the day. So it should be a pretty heavy day. Should be a lot of movement, and mainly in the cable and in any U.S. related pairs with the CPI and core CPI meeting minutes. So just keep that in mind. If we see a fairly strong move in one direction or another, it pretty much will more than likely continue. Thursday isn't. I mean, I shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. Thursday can definitely be a reversal day. Thursdays are the days, though, are where the market is going to either hit its high or low of the week. So as long as you haven't seen a new significant high created in any one of the pairs, and you still got room to move, you can easily get in on these on some of these moves during London, nice and early, or even later to the game in the New York Open session, and and you can catch the last run up into the high of the day, and then more than likely Friday will probably taper off and start to retreat a bit from whatever high or low that the pair's made. So anyway, just wanted to kind of throw that at you real quick. So looking at the cable and some U.S. cross pairs, and we'll jump into this. And later in the day, crude oil inventories, which is just interesting, and they did a medium impact, which is not normal. They usually do a high impact on crude oil inventory, so kind of interesting. But that being said, jump over the charts real quick here so you can kind of get an idea. So I was calling as price was coming up, pushing up into here. It took out the highs and it really had no interest in getting any higher. And then Tuesday created the high. Let me zoom in here a bit for you guys so you can see it better. Tuesday created the high of the week right here. And then you can see Wednesday sold off nicely. And Thursday, since Thursday opened up, this thing has been cascading downwards. And it actually just recently just took out a swing low, two equal lows that I was projecting getting taken out on the downside here. Just recently, actually. So pretty interesting movement on the day. Now, in terms of this thing going lower, I mean, I would permit a move down to like 94.10. Sort of rate. See this little consolidation area right here? We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles kind of all in this range. If I were to kind of come in and just sort of take the middle of this range, maybe not even the middle, a little bit higher than about the 60% of this range right here. I'd put a line on that, and we'd say we'd be somewhere in the neighborhood about 94.10 is kind of what I like on the downside. I don't want to see price get all the way down there. It certainly could. It could even rebound at these highs in here. But again, if we took out a major area here, and I'll just jump down to a lower time frame so you can see it. See, we just did it here about 1, 2, 3 hours ago. Big push down, big gap down off the close, big push, and just took out those equal lows. So I was calling these equal lows in here for quite a while as price was rebounding up in here. I wanted to see them come down and take those. Mission completed. Now we'll see if we get any continuation downward, because there is a couple more levels down here where I think price could stretch to, where there definitely are stops residing. And come on, give me an eagle line. There we go. And where price could easily stretch, not very far away either. I mean, for instance, that's 94.58, so you would even say, you know, 94.55 on the low side at, sorry. There we go. That's what I was looking for. 94.55. Sometimes I get a little quick with the mouse. Could be because I got a pen in my hand. So that's sort of what I'm looking for if this pattern wants to continue. But you look at it and you look at the move up in here, and normally price will trade from consolidation to consolidation, and we definitely have a little consolidation in here, so that could be the target. And the next consolidation area is right in here, and these are that previous area that I was talking about, 94.10, where price could stretch down to. I don't want to see it get all the way down to here. I'd like to see just a real quick rejection if we do go further down from here. I'd like to see just a quick rejection and then a resumption higher, a continuation higher onto the upside. But we'll see what happens. Definitely needs a little bit of cool-off period, that's for sure. As you can see, I lost my train of thought there, guys. Sorry. So what I'm thinking here, so now that we've started this descent, so price came in here, just squeaked up here, grabbed the highs right there, as you can see, and then price cascaded down. Here's that failure swing. That's as usual, the usual rejection that you look for after the most recent swing low was broken. A retest back up into it, and then a failure to continue higher, and then you look for any tradable bounce from there. So from here, what I'm driving at is here, I want to see if price has a willingness to come up to these old lows again, right here. So this could be where we get that sort of false move higher into the London Open session, and price willing to retrade higher. I don't necessarily want to see them come in and close that gap. It'd be a lot better if they didn't close that gap. I think to the downside, and the probability of them coming in and running these lows under here, I think are going to be a lot higher if they leave this gap open. But if they want to trade all the way back up in here and then start to fall off, that, in my opinion, would be just fine. And this target down here, very, very probable. But just keep in mind, this was a pretty major level back down here, and they so far haven't had any willingness to come down any lower. They ran the stop underneath there by the low came in at 94.84, call it, and the low here is 94.87. So they ran it by about 2-3 pips. So that's enough in terms of a reversal. That is enough in some cases for this thing to start screaming higher. If this gap gets closed, and if they trade higher, then right here, I don't want to see them go up any higher than right here, because that will just mean that they could push up and even surpass here. Now, if it's Friday, so what I'd like to see basically is, and I'll put the data dividers on so you can kind of see what I'm driving at here. So Monday opened right here, ran up, cooled off a bit. Tuesday came in, smashed price up, took out the old high from last week, reversal on a Tuesday, and dropped. And this is exactly what I was looking for when I was talking on during London Open on Tuesday. I wasn't thinking a move quite this high. I wanted to actually see it fail in and around here, and didn't want to see it to take out that high, but it did anyway. And then completely reversed, fell off, and then this was Wednesday's trading, another continuation to the downside, and then now we're into Thursday here, and a big movement down, one of the biggest movement downs all week actually, and it happened during the Asian session. So they're in a pretty big hurry to drop this thing lower, and that's why I say again, this could be one of those days where they just keep cascading this thing down, and we make new lows, and price rebalances at lower priced areas of the market. So that's just kind of what I'm looking for. We may not get this movement up into here. I'd love it if we did, because that's such an easy thing. You just sit there and watch it, and it doesn't have any willingness to continue higher. You sell into it, and bam, you ride it down. Versus one of those ones where it comes down, and it sits there and consolidates for a couple hours, and then when you get sick and tired of watching the thing, they smash it straight down from there. They don't run it any higher, and then they take out their target, and you're getting in late to the game, and those ones drive me nuts, I'll be honest with you. Because you don't know. You always want to get the best possible price when you're trading, so it's kind of one of those things. Well, you know, do I get in? I'm going to zoom in here. So it's kind of one of those things where, like I say, you know, price comes in, and here it came up nicely and then dropped, and then like something like this right here, where it sits and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, 7 or 8 candles, and you start watching it consolidate, and you're looking, okay, come up and fill the gap, come up and do it, and then so I can get short right here, and then watch price dive over, and then you get sick and tired of watching it, you know, right here, and then one more candle, and boom, the move ensues. But you don't want to get short right here for fear of that it could run up and run higher and maybe be a failure to go lower, and then price just keeps steamrolling up, and then you really take a big stop. So it's kind of one of those things you just kind of sit and watch and wait, maybe even put a limit order here, or in this case it'd be right here in this consolidation area, put a limit order, and that way you don't have to sit there and babysit it. Or, you know, put a small short in right here, and then you can catch, if it does do something like this, then you can catch that move, and then you can just kind of pyramid into that going forward. So anyway, that's sort of what I'm looking at to happen here during London Open. Bit of a retrace, and then a continuation lower to the 94.55. And if price really wants to continue and keep smashing, we could do 94.50. We could even go, like I say, down to that 94.10 level could even be a possibility on the downside. So that just basically brings us right over to this consolidation area right here. Maybe even want to come under here if we really get a deep sell-off, but we'll have to kind of play that one by ear. If we get a move all the way back down there, whoops, going the wrong way, that could be kind of interesting. Like I say, we get a move, keep going back down in here. I don't know that the odds of this thing bouncing immediately back up to take out these highs are all that probable. So I'd kind of like to see price reverse. Just one quick, like this candle right here, I'd like to just go smash down quick, reject, and then Friday, you know, continue higher from there. So we'll see. Like I say, there could be a little bit more downside, but watch it, because the other scenario is that it just keeps climbing right from here and it doesn't come back. And as I say, if this high here on this right above this gap, is this high, if they come up and run price up higher and they do end up coming in and filling this gap, just keep an eye on this level here, because the probability of this thing rolling over at that price gets lower and lower. And so I think that that's why I say I don't even want to see it come up. I don't even want to see it come up this high. I'd like to see them just come up here, drop it, or even drop from right here. I'd rather them not fill that gap. So anyway, let's rip over to the euro and see what's up for Thursday. I had a long idea back in here that I placed on the chart as a signal. Price didn't come in. I actually put it on when did I put that on? What day was that? It was as price came down here on Tuesday, made that lower low. I was looking on Wednesday. I did a signal late on Tuesday after this run up here. I was looking for price just to take this high out, come back down and rebalance right at this level right here, and then to run. We didn't quite get as deep as a retracement as I had hoped, so unfortunately. Didn't quite work out, but I'm going to leave it on the chart there anyway. You never know, it might come down, get a nice little bounce, and I could scalp off 30, 40 pips. And away we go. But I think ultimately, though, here's the big kicker. I think this is where we're going to be heading. This 1600 level is what I've got on the charts here, as you can see right there. And we're at 15, almost 1560s. So not very far away from current price levels. And that basically just take us right above this swing high right here. And I'm thinking maybe if we get enough of a push, we might even get above these highs in here. But again, I'm not going to bank on it. I think if we can come in here and we can grab, you know, 40, 50 pips on Thursday, I think that'd be enough for me. And me personally, I had a nice little trade on crude oil today, so that'd be all I need for the week, and I'd be done. But similarly as the US dollar, but in reverse, I'd like to see price come back down. Rebalance in this consolidation area right in here, and then start to gather support and run up and try to make a real push for that 1600 level, and that would bring us down to about 1540, so not too far away, about 20 pips away from current location. Easy to do in London. See those types of moves all the time, and then I'd be taking my profits right at this level right here. That's about 10 pips right above those two swing highs right there. And as I say again, if we do get some serious momentum, and like those CPI numbers coming in New York Open, if those things really start driving, then who knows, we could even push higher and get above this consolidation area here as well too. So we'll just kind of have to see how things pan out. But basically any retrace in here I'm going to be buying into, and I'm not going to allow price to go any lower than like I may be permitted. You see these lows right in here. See how price came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles in there and created all relatively equal lows right off there that weren't broken. There are stops under there for sure. People who got long and got lucky on this spike right here, they've got all their stops sitting there. So I wouldn't want to say come in and put my stop directly under here. I'd probably go down to the next swing low position and say right under here, maybe even kind of halfway through this guy right here. I think would be more than safe. Anything lower than that, I don't want in. Don't want to wait and participate if price wants to move under here. And so, like I say, let's see if he even got in on the low of this consolidation. Maybe price pushes down one more time, at to 15, 1555 or so. That'd be about a 25 pip stop to run under there, and it'd be about 30 pips or so on the low end. Yeah, right about 30 pips or so, right in around there where you should put your stops. So that to me is a reasonable 30 pips to pull out, potentially 60 or 70 pips out of the market. Nothing wrong with that. So, but keep it light. Don't be banking your entire account on it, obviously, because anything could happen. This could be the high right here. That's the other thing too. You got to watch. Right? It just ran a significant high. See this here? See this high right here? Ran a significant high and pushed up into the lower ends of this consolidation area. So just keep that in mind, that they may, that could be it sometimes. Price isn't always what you expect it's going to be, especially this week here. So, be prepared that they could just say, nope, that's the high, and price is going to fall off and run the other way. So just be cognizant of that. Keep your stop relatively tight. Don't let it go any more than that 30 pips, and keep your targets tight as well too. Don't expect 200 pips on this move because it's not going to get there, but we should see a nice little movement on it. Okay, cable. Cable. Why these red lines are on here? Get rid of those. So working off a fresh chart on cable, as I was saying earlier this week, this isn't necessarily the same price action that we're getting. That's indicative of what's happening in the U.S. dollar right now, and so price is a little bit skewed. Really big push up to the upside compared to the euro. Like the euro has a nice push up to the upside here on this last little bit. But nothing compared to what the cable's doing. Like, it's almost poised to take out the most recent swing high, whereas the euro nowhere near that area. So either one of two things have happened. The cable, they decided to let run early, and then the euro is going to catch up tomorrow, or the cable, more than likely, is going to come in and it's going to run for this swing high. Whoops. The cable is going to run for this swing high right here, pop that, and then reject, and that's where we could have all of that news. So that's only 60, call it 70 pips to take the high, and maybe a 10 pip stop swing. So that's about 80 pips to run that high right there, and that's what they could do. They could use those news events. Carney, when he's coming out and he's speaking here in an hour and a half, he could come out and jam the market, and they push this thing up above here, and then the next two news releases, and then Carney speaking again right after, could be the one that rolls it over and starts pushing it back down. So you never know. Be very nimble. Don't be committed to super long-term ideas in this market, especially when you're trading against the trend. If you look at this, here is the trend. The trend is still down, and this trend is not going to reverse to a bullish trend until I'll tell you exactly when. I mean, look at this. This is technically still all a downtrend, and I'm going to suggest that this trend isn't going to be broken to the downside until literally this area way up in here. I mean, yes, they could start slowly moving this thing up, but I don't think it's going to technically be bullish again until it gets past that line. They could easily run it up there and then just keep falling this off and smash it under this low, and that's still bearish if you look on the longer time frame, right? I mean, think about that. Let's say they did that. Let's say they moved price right up to that red line and then rolled it over. Well, if you look at that and then just drag that out, that would still be in trend, in conjunction with this downtrend. So just keep that in mind. They like to manipulate price and can do anything with it. So back to kind of the trade idea. Let's kind of dial it down a little bit to an hourly time frame. Same idea as the euro. If we can see a rebalance back down to this level, I might be interested in it. And it's been doing a nice job sort of all day doing that, if you can see. And I'll give you an example of that. So Monday opened up, traded down. Tuesday came up, failed to make that lower low. And that's pretty significant as well right there too. If you look at the euro on Tuesday, Tuesday made that lower low, and the cable did not. So it shows underlying strength on the cable side of things. And you can see price just completely powered up and has not really turned back. One slight retracement on Wednesday here, and another slight retracement during the end of day New York trading here, and really those are the only two opportunities to potentially get long. And even this last one wasn't that much. I mean, let's say you got in from there. I mean, that's only a 50 pip run. Not bad, nothing to, you know, turn your nose at, of course, but what I'm driving at here is they're not really giving traders a lot of opportunity to get long and participate in this, which leads me to believe, once again, I believe this is going to be their objective, to run higher. But keep in mind, look where that high ran into, right in the lows of this two candle consolidation pattern right in there. So just bear in mind, if this candle right here, if we lose this high right here, this is going to be the last line of defense is going to be a rebalance off of this consolidation area right in here. And if they break that, in my opinion, that would be a pretty big stop run down into there, 50, you know, potentially 60 pips. I would not want to see it go any lower than the middle of this range right in here. You see how they ran it up and ran down and propelled right off of there and exploded higher. Don't want to see it come down more than halfway through that range. And that would be, you know what, 131.60. I like that level right there. Not quite halfway the range, a little bit higher, but nice even number. Don't want to see price go lower than that. But again, I think the ultimate target being right here at 133, basically 133.00 as the target for Thursday. And then from there, Friday, more than likely, what's going to happen? They're going to come in. Let's say we do get a move down here like this, and then we get a subsequent nice trade higher to take out the high. That's my target right there. As I say, that's the equal high. We could get maybe a 10 pip run above that, whatever it may be, to create the high of the week. And then I would expect Friday to trade off fairly significantly. Might have a nice reversal on a Friday, and this being the low of the week. Let's say that is roughly the high of the week. And we could easily see a move back down to the 32.20 level on the lower end for Friday. So anyway, that's just kind of some thoughts. We'll see if that actually pans out. I could be totally wrong. Maybe they want to just keep on running this thing higher, 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 and never come back. And that's also a possibility as well. But this is the setup that I'm looking for going into London Open here for Thursday's trading. So Blair's Mud. Again, if you guys have any questions, type it into the chat, and I'll do a real quick Q&A here as we're wrapping up at the end, okay? Yeah, I've got the chat window open right here, so fire away on your questions. I'll make sure I get them all answered before I wrap up. Okay. As I said, and as I was saying this as well, too, I don't know if you guys caught my session from Tuesday, London trading, but the Euro GBP has been on an absolute tear to the downside here. Very, very bearish price at momentum, especially when you look at how long it took them to ramp this thing up. I mean, they left this consolidation area. Let's call this the low. I'll just zoom in here a bit. Let's call this the low in that consolidation area. Not the low, I'm sorry, the reversal pattern on that consolidation, on this consolidation area here. And then price skyrocketed from there. I use that term loosely, skyrocketed, but look how long it took them. Like, they hit that low middle of June. Or sorry, this reversal pattern right here, middle of June. And it took them basically 2.5 months to drive that price all the way up there, just for them to reverse it in half that time. So they're in a big, big hurry to sink this to the downside for a reason. Now, we definitely took out a lot of very significant levels in here, and it's not as clear as what the cable or what the euro or what the US dollar is currently, but if you look close enough, you can definitely pick out some levels, and I think this is the new, or the next target to the downside on a push lower. So Euro GBP, the pound being the back currency in this basket, if this pair is going down, it should lead to strength on part of the pound dollar. Okay, so that's why I believe we're seeing such a nice, healthy run up here as of late in the pound dollar. Okay, so just kind of keep that one in mind, and that's why I think we're going to see one more push lower. I'd like to see one more push lower, get under this low here, and you know, take out these stops here, and then maybe potentially continue back and rebalance off some of this big range down here. But you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight consecutive down days almost. They're really pushing hard on that thing. So I'm expecting a little bit further, and away we go. Okay, hopefully that's clear enough. I don't, just for the record, I don't trade this pair, so if you're looking for setups on this pair, I only use this as a barometer for the Euro USD and the Pound USD. I don't trade the beast at all, so, or the Euro GBP at all. I don't like it because of this, obviously, because of this. Look at this extended consult. Can you imagine trying to trade this day in and day out and living in this market? That would be terrible. I mean, this has been going on for over a year now. And only just of late have come in and really made a meaningful low down here and then a run higher there. So it's just in a bigger consolidation period. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. UJ, probably as we see a bit of a dip down on the US dollar. And let me get rid of this. It's a little on the daily. Hard to see what we're looking at here. Look at this thing. It's starting to push down from here too. I really hope we get this move higher and then a drop down into there. However, I think that'd be too easy and be obviously a little bit too predictable if they did. But it'd be great if they just, you know, ran just a real quick, sharp one candle up, wick, reject, and down. Even that would be great. But anyway, sorry, you can see the downward momentum on the US dollar. It's the same downward momentum we're finally seeing on UJ. After they came in, took out a previous high, or sorry, failed to take out a previous high. My mistake. They failed to take out that previous high right there and reject. And this is just coming down just because the US dollar is coming down. I would expect them to probably come down and rebalance in this area in here somewhere. And then we'll probably see some support, and more than likely we'll see them come down and then smash this guy, and I would imagine they'll probably be looking to take out all these highs significantly on the next bull run up. If we get the corresponding bullish run higher, if we get a bounce down here at 49.55, and then we get that push up higher and we start to clear out this high here, UJ I believe will come in and start to really take out these highs quite easily. So if you're a UJ trader, you can probably look forward to that. And I would assume that they're probably going to, as I say, rebalance price somewhere down in here. There's definitely a lot of areas for support ideas to be generated at, especially at the 111.60. That'd be a nice area for them to rebalance price at. And I wouldn't be looking for them to go really any lower than the middle of this range right in here, and to rebalance. So if they want to try and get underneath this low here, might be a little bit suspect. They may have to wait for a little bit longer. They might want to retrace it a bit deeper. But for now, I'd be fairly bullish on this pair for the next little while. Okay. US CAD is doing the exact opposite. Look at this thing. This is doing the exact opposite of what the US dollar is doing. This should be lockstep with correlation with the US dollar. It is literally doing the exact opposite. As you can see, we had a nice big push up on the US dollar, but then the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, it's been dropping like a rock. And you can see the Canadian dollar has just been, I mean, it's had one of the biggest gains it's had for a month. So, kind of interesting. Nice big push up today. And on Wednesday here, as you can see, and this was a big range. I didn't get in this. I wasn't trading the US CAD. When a currency pair gets this uncorrelated from across, I don't typically get in on those markets that readily. So all I was looking was this area down here. This gap was created. I was out of this pair. I got a little trade in right in here on this movement up into close this gap, and that was it. I didn't look at this pair at all again. I think I made one call saying that the 130.10 level would get recapitalized, and they did that right there. And then they fell off twice, and then just Wednesday, out of the blue, smashed this thing higher, and even created the low on the week. This was Monday, Tuesday, and then look at Wednesday. Wednesday created the low and a Wednesday reverse and a midweek reversal pattern on this pair, which none of the other pairs were giving me that. So this thing's kind of been doing its own thing here this week, so I've just been electing to kind of stay out of it. Not really interested in trading just because it's a little unpredictable at the moment. And I want to make sure I'm trading in highly probable, predictable markets. You can see they just failed to get above that swing high right there. Hopefully it'll rebalance a bit, come down, and maybe we can look for a re-entry, potentially somewhere in this area right here. Not that deep, somewhere in this area right here. And that might prove favorable if price wants to put in one more swing high to potentially get up there and challenge these guys here. And the thing is, though, if the U.S. dollar, and this could be why it's doing it. This is my thoughts. And then I'm going to move on off of Forex. I don't have anything else to talk about Forex. But this could be the prelude to what's about to happen in the U.S. dollar. And it's a little bit of foreshadowing to come. The strength that we're seeing in here could be strength that we're about to see after this short run lower to recapitalize some positions down here, stops, and then they finally resume this to the upside, and we see that big push up above here. Maybe that's what the U.S. CAD is doing, and just some of the big commercial hedgers and everything are just pushing this thing up in anticipation of that. So they're already at those levels because they know what's going to happen on the U.S. dollar. That's very, very probable. I'm not on the inside or inner echelon of the banking system, so I don't know what their motivation is there. All I know is this thing has absolutely gone on a tear the past 2 weeks and cleared about 250, 300 pips there. So some nice movement, and the bulk of that being, like I say, today, on Wednesday today. So not sure where that came out of. Left field, in my opinion. Because that's the other thing, too, is look at the news. Look. Wednesday, October 10th. What's missing? Pound, US dollar, PPI, FOMC member speaking, Australian dollar, G20 meetings. Where is the Canadian dollar news? Usually on a move like that, you've got, some kind of a, interest rates adjustment or something on the Canadian dollar to push it up that high. And just to have a day that has absolutely no news, to come down and do completely opposite of what everything else is doing, right? Creating a lower high, creating a high and then a lower high, and then coming in and smashing down this low and reversing just out of the blue and cascading higher. It's pretty incredible. And really reversing, too, at a very interesting point, too. Give me 1 second. I just want to look at something quick. Just trying to formulate an idea. Now, I was just looking at this big candle right in here and seeing the sort of the 50% level, and they just missed that on there, thinking maybe that was what they were aiming for. Not to be, as you can see, it fell short of that. So anyway, again, no idea why that went up, but I'm sure somebody out there can tell me who's a little more in tune to the markets. I don't think they had an interest rate release announcement or anything, like I say. So anyway, moving on. That's about it for Forex. Hopefully that all made sense to you guys. I'm going to talk real quick about crude oil. I got in, so here's crude oil. As I was saying, as prices were coming up above here, smashing into this last week, I said I am not buying up at these levels, and for good reason. This is what happened. Price failed to get any higher. It went up about another 160 ticks and completely reversed, filling in this whole range right here. And I personally think they're coming back. You see this little guy right there? Look at that little gap in price action right there. I think that's what they're aiming for. Now, whether they go down below that, great. I have no idea. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But so far, price on the daily has failed to create a lower low in any instance all the way through here. through this entire price movement from June, early June of this year, I'm sorry, early June of 2017, we've failed to create a lower low anywhere in this whole price structure. So pretty amazing, pretty big bull run. I wouldn't be surprised after they move this. And this, again, now keep in mind, this is $40 down here. It's almost doubled in price. And they really haven't done a deep retracement to cool prices off yet. Not saying for 1 second that them having a cool down period is in the cards at all. I'm just suggesting that maybe after taking this high here, they could want to come back down a little bit and just recapitalize some longs at a lower position and take it higher again. But if you look, going in here, at all the times that they came in and took out a high, an old high, they always cooled their jets off after. So they came in here, created a high, came back up, not much of a retracement, but still significant enough, and again, created a higher low in here, ran price up again, created a short-term high, came back down slightly, and took out the high right there, and then had a nice deep retracement back down to the original consolidation, the original area of this move higher. Chopped in here a couple of times again, took out the interim high right there, cooled price off a bit, smashed price up in here, and you know, really took out this high here, came down, nice deep retracement, and then right here and right here, look at that, they popped up, consolidated, and this is you know, indicative of a topping pattern. Price comes above an old high and does this, probably gonna go lower from there, and that's exactly what they did. Dropped it down once, twice, and then another big push up. Didn't spend as much time above this high here, but they stopped it down, dropped it down, and who knows? I mean, if I take a typical fib off of this, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are crude oil traders, otherwise you wouldn't be hanging around this long. But if I took a fib off of the most recent swing low right here-ish, that low comes in, right, that gap gets filled right about that 61% level, and they even have cause, I believe, to come down to the 72 or 79% retracement level on this initial swing right here. So wouldn't surprise me if we saw prices go all the way back down to you know, 69, you know, even $70. I think could be the terminus of this swing lower here. So we'll kind of see how that pans out, but so far, nice big movement down on Wednesday, and Thursday is continuing to follow suit. This has not let up. Look at this. So anyway, so this was my trade on Wednesday, today, still Wednesday. So I was sitting here, I was watching price, and I had a bit of a sneaking feeling that they were going to sink price down, and just kind of off of this move right here, they came down and failed to get under here and pushed up, and just this, look at this one candle right here, and that's all they gave us. And I was watching this and saying, you know, this just doesn't look, that one little candle right there doesn't really look like they're going to do anything with it. And they were actually fairly efficient in trading price action down in this range right in here. So I was kind of more looking at the downside. And I'd been calling lower on crude oil for a while now, especially after, like I say, we had that topping pattern. And price did this for a couple of days, no failure to go higher. And then I wasn't watching as price came down here. I wasn't in front of the markets. Price cascaded down once, twice. I got on this one right in here, just at the low end. As this price was candle closed, I waited for a retracement. Got a real shallow retracement. I can zoom in a little bit. Got a real shallow retracement on this candle right here, I believe it was. And waited for about 15 minutes, and I was looking for this swing low to get taken out as confirmation, and they came down, smash it down here, smash it down here, and I think I was only in the trade for maybe 30 minutes. I picked my target as just as the swing low right under here, so managed to get in. Where was I again? I was right about there. I managed to get in, and it was about 40 or 50 ticks or so, somewhere right in here, and away we went. Now, in hindsight, should have held on to it, because I would have cleaned up on that move and banked a cool 200 ticks, you know, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to complain. Made some money, so I'm not too worried about it. Sorry, I made some demo bucks cash. I'm not a licensed commodity broker or anything like that, or professional by any stretch of the imagination to trade the commodity markets. So if I show you anything on here, it is not trading advice, just as an FYI. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at for crude going forward. But just keep in mind, right, there's a couple of swing lows right in here, and we just took out this guy right here, and this is on tap next as the next swing low to get taken out, and then this guy right in here, and then like I say, there's that gap to get filled. So not a huge area, but there's still, that's 100 ticks from current location. So we'll see if we get a bit of a run up, or if they just want to keep screaming straight down for that. The thing I'd be hesitant of doing is getting short right here, and then they come up all the way back up into here, and that's a pretty hefty drawdown if you decided. So if you're thinking about going short right here, I would just maybe counsel you to hold off for a little bit and just sort of watch price. I mean, at the end of the day, if it does go down to that target, doesn't let you in, well, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to be the only trade in the world. But I would just, you know, I would exercise some caution on that and some patience, and maybe just wait for a bit of a retracement in here. See if they want to come back up and rebalance at a higher location, and then see about taking price lower. The crazy thing is here, I don't, technically speaking, from a chart standpoint only, looking at this, my eye goes lower instantly after we took out this high. Supply-wise and globally wise and fundamentally speaking wise, crude oil should not be seeing this at all. There's actually a massive explosion at a huge refinery on the east coast of Canada on Tuesday. Price should, and look what it did, and look at this down candle. Sorry, this was Wednesday. And look at this little measly candle on Wednesday. Usually when there's an explosion at a refinery somewhere, the price jumps higher astronomically. You get a big moving day on crude oil going higher, not going lower. So again, I think they're taking these lows out for a reason, because they're going to start pricing in all of these disruptions in service, and I mean, they use any excuse they can find, obviously, and I think they're just coming in because I think the next move is going to be the move to 80 that pushes us up, and I want to make sure I'm part of that one. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for on crude oil. A lot of confluence in this area right in here, so I'm going to be watching for support, potential support at the 70-80 level, potentially even down to the 70 level. I'll give it that sort of dollar of margin, and just sort of wait and watch price, and any aggressive movement out of there higher, I'm going to be getting all over like a dirty shirt, because I think that's going to be the next big mover. So anyway, that's my thoughts on crude oil. Dave came in, was a monster today on gold and S&P. I don't know if anybody in here took that. I know a couple of our guys in our group did, and they made some pretty good bank with Dave this morning, so I'm not going to go through that today, but hopefully you guys took part in that. You guys have to make sure you get on these live sessions. Dave is especially, he's quick, and I get it. Sometimes, you know, he's only on for 15 minutes. Here's the setup, boom, bang, done. He's out, and, you know, session over. Make sure you watch those recordings, though, too, and just give us a little thumbs up if you could as well, please. It would help us, you know. Just give us a review, or if you like what you see, that'd be awesome. And if you're not already, make sure you just click right down here in the right-hand corner on the subscribe button down here, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would help us out immensely. Nothing on copper. Still waiting for this thing to tick down. Looking for this area to get recapitalized and seeing what's going to happen there. Hopefully looking for a bounce. Don't know. It might continue lower. I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not as confident on a long on copper yet. We'll have to see how things pan out yet, as I am on crude oil, for instance. But we'll see what happens. There was a couple of markets. I'm not going to go through all these today. Look at coffee. Smashing up. Smash. This was a nice move down in here, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't watching this. I did see them come down in here and push up, and I was looking on at this move up here for them to come back down and rebalance at this level down here, and didn't even think about it for a second. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and look at this gap couple of days to start the week out. I mean, just monster movement on coffee. Something's about to happen on this, so I'm not going to buy it up here. I'm going to wait. Again, I'm going to be patient, see if it gives us another opportunity, see if they come down and fill that gap in, and see where they want to take it from there, because there's actually a gap there, and technically there's another gap right there as well too on the daily. So we'll see what they want to do here with this price. I'm looking right up here. Like this is where my eye goes on the move that's about to ensue. I think we're going to see higher prices for sure, and I just want to see them cool their jets just a little bit to come down, and then hopefully we'll see that move higher. They just failed to get above this high right here, so again, there could be some opportunity. See that there? They just failed to squeak above that high there. So we could see. So keep your eye on coffee anyway. Have a look at that one. Watch it. Keep it on your radar screen. Nothing on cotton or orange juice or anything like that. Sugar, same similar move. And I was waiting on sugar. I wanted to see this this exact move happen. I got it right here. You see this? Boom, boom, boom. Failure swing lower and a big push up higher. And this is exactly what I was talking about with coffee. So, right, price came down, came back up, created that failure swing, and then exploded off of that, looking for a retrace buy down in here. Sugar, that's what I was waiting for right here. And you can see price came down nicely. Actually got a little trade-off in here. And then it came down one more time. And as soon as it came in and did that, then I was a little bit more hesitant. Because that's a big down move there that they got into really quickly. You can see the next candle that ensued after that, trade idea off. And then we had to wait another, 2 months for this last down move here. And then look what happened. Same exact pattern again. Price came down, ripped off of that high, and then not quite as big of a rip as this, and then smashed back down, failure swing, and another equal massive rip to the upside, which kind of mimics this guy right here. So now I'm just waiting for them to come back down, cool their jets on it a bit. Same as coffee. Want to see price rebalance a bit lower, come down. Do not want to see price go any lower than this area right here. So to see the shaded area here, where are we here? Don't want to see them come any lower than this shaded area. And I don't even know that they're going to get that deep. They may just come back to this red line right here, rebalance, and then shoot up again even higher. Again, 2 equal highs right up there. That's where I'm looking to see if this is going to go. We're coming up to baking season as well, too. And by that, I mean Christmas. Lots of pies and cookies and cakes and everything getting baked. So maybe that's the catalyst of why we're going to see this move here ensuing on sugar. So we're going to watch for that one. And that's about it, guys. Nat gas, another big ripper to the upside. Too late on Nat gas, unfortunately. I was watching this thing. This is what pisses me off, too. I was watching this thing all the way back in here, and it was like watching paint dry. And then they came down here and came much lower than what I thought, and I kind of lost interest in it, only for them to come up and smash it right down. And this was, again, that same pattern, that move up out of the low, and then that failure swing, and then the big price movement. That's the big motive wave right there that we're looking for. And unfortunately, I missed it, so I'll have to get the next one. Can't get them all. And that's it for commodities. Bitcoin, look at the down day we had on Bitcoin today. Nice projection to the downside. Haven't seen a big move down on Bitcoin like this in a little while. We had, kind of a decent day here and here, but 2 real big days right here. After this gap fill, and then we saw a nice big push down to the downside here. So again, I'm still looking for lower prices on Bitcoin. Yes, we have created I'll show you this here. We have created a low, and here, you know what? Let me just maybe make this a little more obvious. We created a low, a higher low, another higher low, and this could be the 4th higher low. However, look at these movements. So it created that low, and then this big movement up and created a higher low, another big movement up to fill that gap in, and then a higher low. And then look at this though, like they're barely getting this thing up there. And they may just lost all momentum to the upside, and they're going to smash this thing down. And I think, I honestly believe one of these lows, one of these times, it's going to be it. And that is going to be it for Bitcoin. It's going to come down, it's going to sail south, and it's going to smash everybody who had the last little bit of fleeting hope on Bitcoin out of the market. And then they're going to come down, rebalance, and take this thing up to 50,000. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. Anyway, guys, I hope that was offered a little bit of insight for you today. I don't see anybody who has any questions, so I'm assuming you got it. It's clear as mud. You don't need any more help with it. I'm going to be watching, like I say, I'm watching US dollar, I'm watching euro, and I am watching the pound dollar as well too, to see what we're going to get. I really hope we get this. That would be great. Euro USD, same thing. Not doing a whole bunch actually. Euro USD, it's actually really starting to come out of this little consolidation area, so we may not get a big movement higher. But if they do want to come down and fill this area in, I'll be watching for that, and I might be getting in on that. So anyway, that's it for me, guys. Dave will be back Friday morning. I'll link you when he is live and give you lots of opportunity, and then I'll be back again next week. I'm going to try and get out a pre-recorded session. I failed last week. It was Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend. And it was just all family time for me, so I did not get a pre-recorded video out to you on the market, pre-market trading for the week. Unfortunately, I left that to my usual Tuesday London Open session. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to get one of those out this weekend, though. That is my goal. And I'm also going to follow up with you on a couple of commodity ideas, one of them being that coffee trade. I want to see what is driving this coffee market, make sure we're in alignment with, you know, the seasonals and the all the other stuff, the COT data and everything else with the this commodity, and the same with sugar, and see where we're at time of year and all that kind of stuff. So see if these moves are going to be valid or if they're just flashes in the pan. So anyway, with that, guys, I hope you guys have a great Thursday trading. You know, don't go all in on this. This week was a bit of a crazy week, so just make sure you kind of, you know, go within stride and take your profits early and live another week and hopefully bank some, and we'll catch up to you. I'll be back again live Tuesday, London Open, so we'll see you then. Catch you guys later.